Today, talk about 10 realities that change the way I sell final expense life insurance. So 10 realities. So here's a glass of water. Of course, the optimist takes a look at the glass of water and says that glass is half full. The pessimist looks at it and says that glass is half empty. And the realist, insert your punchline of choice, but the realist takes a look at it and says, well, there's water. There could be more, there could be less. What are we going to do with the water? So today, I don't want to be overly optimistic. I don't want to be pessimistic. I'm just trying to be realistic on 10 realities that affect the way I sell final expense life insurance. Reality is, the world or the state of things as they actually exist, as opposed to an idealistic or notional idea of them. So just kind of some realistic realities and how I adjust to them and what it means to be more effective in helping people get life insurance. So we'll go through each of them here. Everybody likes a good countdown, so I just thought I'd pick 10. It's not the top 10. It's not the only 10. It's just 10. You could probably do 20 or 30, but we have limited time. So number one is most people don't truly want life insurance. We all know this because we all work leads and we all know most people don't buy. But sometimes in our heads, we can think, oh, they filled out a form, of course they want it. And then we get so emotionally attached to them because when they don't buy. But the reality is most people don't truly want life insurance. So therefore, learn to discern who really wants it. So here's, 100 dots representing 100 calls. If you're doing a good job, 4 to 7 of those will turn into sales. The other 96, if you close 4, the other 96 are not going to answer the phone. They're going to act interested but not follow through. They're going to be mad at you when you call. They're going to say it's too expensive, et cetera, et cetera. We all know the reasons why people don't want it. So if you're closing 4 to 7% out of 100, that's really good for Facebook outbound leads. So, some of those not serious cues in terms of how do you learn how to discern if someone is serious or not, because that's going to save you a ton of time. If you take everybody at their word, you will waste your time because people say things that they think are true, but they aren't really true. So some of those cues, and you could probably crowdsource a whole list of things that we know when people say this, they're not really serious. Well, let me check with my daughter. That can be legitimate. Sometimes they do need to check with their daughter, but usually it's not a good sign because they're not responsible enough to make their own decisions if they need to check with their daughter. Sometimes, it does work out, but very rarely. Because the daughter never comes home from work at night and they forgot to talk about it. And next weekend, and then we got a family gathering 2 weeks from, and it's lost, it's forgotten. Anytime, and then I'll get back with you. And then I'll get back with you. Some of the biggest lies ever spoken in the English language in the final expense world. Well, something to think about. That person is definitely not buying. Well, I was just checking around, just looking for pricing. Some people are just casual shoppers. Some people really just wonder, maybe they have no context. They thought maybe it was really like $15 a month. And the minute they hear it's $64, well, they're not interested. It's not valuable to them. Now you can do your best, of course, to draw out, why were you interested in the idea of life insurance? Like, what are you trying to accomplish, which you should do. But for a lot of people, it's not a strong enough conviction for them, and you're not going to change that in a short phone call. I was just curious. Let me get back with you after the holidays. It is official after the holiday season, so happy after the holiday season to all. The minute people have Thanksgiving and Christmas in mind, I can put this off until January. Of course, when January comes along, they're going to either forget about it. Someone else is going to call them and they're going to act on it before, and then when you call back, they're already going to have it. But more than likely, they're just going to forget about it and give up on it. Or the holidays will come and they'll spend too much money, and now it's like, oh no, I'm in debt from the holidays, so therefore I can't do anything. Need to pay off a few more bills. Well, if they have to pay off a few more bills, then they really probably can't afford it, or they really don't value it enough is what it comes down to. Because the minute they have an emergency heat bill in the winter, first thing they're going to cancel is their life insurance policy. I'm waiting on a settlement. The settlement will never come. Right now, we have a family emergency. A lot of family emergencies. Sometimes, I guess there are legitimate family emergencies. I don't mean to be cynical here, but most of the time, I have a family emergency means this really is not important enough for me to talk. I'm feeling sales pressure in my mind because I probably get 6 other calls like this every day, and I just don't want to deal with it. So, I mean, I'll follow up, once or twice on situations like that, but most of the time, family emergencies equals never going to buy. I'm dealing with the death in the family. Now that's legitimate sometimes. That's the very reason they filled out the form, is because they are dealing with the death in the family and it's on their mind. But it's the strangest thing. If they procrastinated enough until it took a death in the family to fill out the form, they're going to use the excuse of the death in the family to push it off another week, another 2 weeks, and then it just never happens again. And they get back in that cycle. It's sad, especially when they're in that mindset. They know the pain that there is without life insurance, and yet they can't bring themselves to do it. They keep pushing it off. So sometimes it's great, if they have a death in the family. Not great that they had someone pass, but it's great that they're in that mindset now, because certain people will take action. But if they won't, it's very hard to get them. So most people don't truly want life insurance. The old, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So you got to be realistic about that and learn to discern, is this person really serious, or are they a tire kicker? So do I want to spend time on that? And the big thing is understanding the reality that most people are casual shoppers will help you detach yourself emotionally and quickly move on. If you hold on to them, like, I worked so hard to get this lady, I followed up 4 times in the last 3 months, and then she just completely forgot about me. Well, it's because she was a casual shopper. She wasn't really serious about it. So you got to make that learn that skill of discernment, and it'll save you a bunch of time and make you more profitable. Which leads us to number 2. It's related. Clarity is the goal, not sales. Clarity is the goal, not sales. So therefore, what do? You got to focus on getting clarity, not sales. Yeses are wonderful. When someone says, yes, I want it, absolutely. No's are acceptable. But the maybes will destroy you. I need to think about it. I need to talk with someone. I need to check my budget. Those will destroy your business. They will destroy you mentally if you allow them to build up. You've got to get clarity. A guy named Wes Schaefer at thesaleswhisperer.com, he said, sort, sift, and separate. Do not sell. Find out if they cannot buy or will not buy. Follow up with those who cannot buy today but will buy tomorrow. So get clarity. What you're doing, you got a bunch of leads. What are you doing? You're sorting, you're sifting, and you're separating. Obviously, there's more to it, but from a big picture view, that's what you're doing, and you're helping people, think through what they need and why they need it, of course. But getting clarity is the goal. So, back to basic objection handling, the biggest one. Oh, I need to think about it. Could mean a million different things. You've got to get clarity on that phone call. It could mean I want to shop around. I don't think I have the best price. It could mean I can't afford that and I know it, but I'm too embarrassed to say it. Could mean I need approval from my daughter because I can't make decisions on my own. Could be I don't trust you, I don't know you, I'm not willing to open up, and you haven't done a good enough job to earn my trust. Or it could be I'm clinically insane, of course. There's always that possibility. But you got to get to the root of the issue, and you got to do it on the first phone call. That's the hard part. If you find out it doesn't make sense for the person to get final expense life insurance, then I feel good about those calls. If I can just get clarity. You've helped them confirm that. I know that. I can close them out. I know I did everything possible. I can't control the leads. I can only control helping them as best as possible. So even and that involves asking the questions that maybe you don't want the answers to sometimes. So when someone says, well, I already have a policy. Okay, well, let's think about this. So you said you have a $10,000 policy, right? And you're just doing cremation. So then you should be fine. That should cover all your cremation costs. So maybe you don't really even need this policy. Throw that out there and then see what their reaction is. Because if they really want it, they're going to push back against you. And if they're not going to buy anyway, they're going to agree with you. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. I'm probably fine. So they can't bring themselves to get that clarity because I don't know, for whatever reason, they don't want to say what they're really thinking. So you got to help them confirm that. Just think logically, think from their perspective. How can you help them? If you were in their shoes, what would you do? There is some fortune in the follow-up. So I mean, I had several actually good calls today that were just about that close, but they needed to check on something or make, and I couldn't push any further. So of course, yeah, I'm going to follow up on those, and I got as much clarity as I could. You got to know when to walk away or to let down. But just know in the final expense in particular, there is less fortune in the follow-up because for me, I haven't looked at my recent, but it's 90%, I'd say, of my sales are one call closes. Now some big sales are follow-ups. So again, you just have to have the discernment to know when to follow up and when not to. And yeah, so number three, boy, this sounded negative, Benjamin. What are we doing here? No, I'm being realistic. Okay, people are crazy. People are crazy, and that's true. I'm crazy, you're crazy in all different respects. But we all know there's a special type of crazy in the final expense world. So what do we do about it? Do we get frustrated? No, we got to make sure that we don't let crazy people make us crazy. Don't let crazy people make you crazy. That's the takeaway. Just, zoom out 40,000 feet. Our job is simple. It's to help people get life insurance. We're essentially filling out an application form to get them approved. And that's all we're doing. Obviously, there's more to it, but that's the end result. But why is that so hard? Well, it's because our clients have all these issues: low trust, low budget, poor communication, poor critical thinking, no patience, disorganization, unrealistic expectations, inability to use technology. And on top of all that, of course, they're professional procrastinators because they're at this point in life. Not all, many. So it's simple, but it's not easy when you're dealing with sometimes very difficult people. So there are days where I'll tell my wife, all I want is one conversation with a rational person. That's all. I'm not asking for a lot. But sometimes you just get that string of crazy and you can't get out away from it. So what I try to do in those situations is tell myself, I have to operate on a rational basis and respectfully expect it from my clients. If something doesn't make sense, I'm not going to go along with it. I'm going to point it out. I'm going to confront it. And if they get frustrated or if they can't handle it, then good. Now we're getting back to the previous point. Now we're getting clarity. If they can't operate on a rational basis now, they won't operate on a rational basis paying premiums. The policy's not going to last. So expect it. Expect it if a client just has unrealistic expectations or whatever it may be. Point it out. Just be straightforward. Just be rational like you would with a rational person. And if you think about it, if you're in that period where you're just like, I am done with the senior market, I want out, I cannot take another phone call. Crazy people only make you crazy when you're desperate to make a sale. Because if you're not desperate, you're just going to brush them off. You're going to move on. You're going to, next call. It's not going to bother you. But if you allow the desperation mindset to take over, so much of this business is so mental, they're going to win. The crazy people are going to win, and it's going to throw you off your game. So you got to make sure the desperation mindset never takes over, which is not easy. So a couple questions. If crazy people are making you crazy, ask yourself, am I cutting corners on my presentation? Am I being impatient with people? Am I desperate? Why am I desperate right now? Because I haven't made a sale. Why haven't I made a sale? Is there another core issue? Is it my lead flow? Is it my presentation? Is it my tone of voice? Is it something else going on in my life over here that is affecting my mindset here? Is it just a rough slump? Maybe I'm overthinking it. Or is there something else going on? So stop and analyze. Sometimes it's good to think and figure out what's going on. Sometimes it's good not to overthink. But every once in a while, the good thing, every once in a while you have clients that are not crazy, and those are great. Closed the week last Friday, and I got two, and I was really down in the dumps last Friday afternoon, and I got these two texts. Finally made a sale with this lady, and she responded, "It was nice and very comforting to talk with you. Everything is A-okay. All info is correct. Have a blessed one." And that was satisfying. I was able to help somebody, and they appreciated it. Another client, I had to send him some form or something, and it opened the email. "I really appreciate you. Much respect for you." So those are the type of clients, you'll crawl over broken glass for them. We want to help people. It's fun to do that. But when you're stuck in the neighborhood of crazy, sometimes it's hard, you lose sight of that. So don't let the crazy people make you crazy. Number 4, nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about you. Therefore, focus on the client's needs, not yours. What do I mean when nobody cares about you? Why does anybody care about someone that calls them out of the blue? They're getting 12 other phone calls from Medicare agents, and they put their phone number out there, and it's out there, so it's hopeless for their phone. They don't care about you. You're just another call center agent somewhere. They have no loyalty to you. They assume only the worst. So how are you going to stand out? How are you going to break through that wall of hardness and sales resistance? What makes you different? Is it your tone of voice? Is it your approach? Is it the first thing you say to them? Is it, it can be different for depending on your personality and the type of person you're trying to contact. But loyalty is earned, not given. And sometimes even you think you've earned their loyalty, and then you call back, and the worst I hate, well, I went with someone else, and they just forgot about you. And in those cases, keep in mind, the reality is nobody cares about you. So you can't let that emotionally put you down. You got to move on. So it's sales, it's rejection. It's 96% rejection all the time, all day. In other ways, though, too, when you're dealing with maybe carrier issues or policy service issues, remember, nobody will advocate for your clients or your business more than you. I always think back my first year in the business. I had it was not with Digital BGA, but I had a certain compensation level on it's just a graded product, and I was told that they would raise my compensation to this certain level, and then I kept selling and selling and selling, and I wasn't really paying attention to the exact thinking, oh, they told me, I trust them. Well, they never made the change. So I had sold all these policies over 5 months, whatever it was, and missed out on thousands of dollars. It's because nobody will advocate for yourself except you. Now, that being said, at Digital BGA, you've got people that will. I mean, if they're aware of an issue that you have, they'll help you. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying there's a lot of details flying around, so you've got to stay on top of your individual business details, because nobody will be a better advocate for you or your clients better than you. So just a practical thing there. It's all about timing. The reality is you with final expense sales, you're calling people at all times of the day. It's about catching them at the right time, and you can't always control that, obviously. So therefore, what do? You exert consistent effort all the time to achieve the right timing. The old phrase, the harder you work, the luckier you get. If you're always constantly giving the same effort, then you're going to get luckier, if you will, on better timing and sell more sales. I mean, people have the memory of a goldfish when people answer the phone. You catch them one day, they'll swear at you, they'll They'll hang up the phone. You call them the next day. Oh, I'm so glad you called. I really need to take care of this. Or yeah, I remember filming that. I just need pricing. So it's all about timing. So if it's not a good time, don't necessarily give up on them. Now, if it's a bad time over and over and it's just a chronic excuse, then back to number one, you got to discern who really wants it or not. Another quote, all you can do is put in the effort to reach enough of the right people, ask them enough of the right questions over a long period of time to achieve your goals. It's true. Linger through those initial smoke screens. Whatever excuse people give in the first 30 seconds of a call, you have to ignore it. You have to listen and acknowledge it and then ignore it. Whatever they say never is really the real issue. So there's that. Number 6, numbers, not emotions, must guide your confidence and consistency. Numbers, not emotions. So therefore, what do you got to do? You got to track your numbers. If the numbers are going to guide your confidence and consistency, you got to track them. If you live by your emotions, your business will die by your emotions. The ups and downs of the final expense business is more intense than you can imagine. Until you experience it, then you know it. But even when you're in a good period, you're having great sales, you're in a streak, you can't even remember the down part of the roller coaster that's coming up next week or next month, whatever it may be. So numbers, not emotions, have to guide your business. So what are the numbers? What are the key numbers you want to know? Your close rate percentage, your placement percentage that make a first payment placement, the still active percentage or persistency, what percentage are still active from January of 2025, number of leads you've taken, the average AP per sale, the profit per sale, advanced profit and total profit per sale. Jeff did a video on this, I think last week on the YouTube channel. It's a good video. 4 main sales KPIs. He talks about close rate, annual premium, place rate, and then leads taken. And then he has a cap score where he gives you you multiply them, and then you figure out how much for every $10 you spend, you're placing X amount of coverage, which is a helpful way to look at it too. So that's in last week's video. Recommend you'll watch that if you haven't seen it. But one other big picture, because sometimes those numbers you're seeing in the immediate week or the immediate month are not good and they're not encouraging. So I like to take a step back beyond that and look at my overall, hey, what's my annual profit goal? And then based on my deposits over the past, for this year, what am I on track for if deposits stay consistent? You can do that with a Google Sheet formula. Just chat GPT it or look it up. But you can create your own formula there so that you have a big picture view of, hey, am I on track? I know it feels bad right now emotionally, but am I on track big picture? And that's a kind of a big stat I like to always keep an eye on. You have no control over the good times and bad times. So what do you have to do? You have to train yourself to wipe your brain from the stress of the day when you walk out of your office. Very tough to do when you're having a bad stretch or a bad day in the final expense world. But it's like you wipe your brain. You forget it ever happened. You've got to move on. You got to stay positive. Positivity is the only path forward. Negativity is the only path backward. So you got to keep that in mind. The sun will come out tomorrow, as Annie sang in the old musical. Anxiety does not empty tomorrow of its sorrows. It only empties today of its strength. Charles Spurgeon. So you gotta live by numbers, not emotions. Number 7, moving along here. Lead quality and lead flow matters. Of course, we all know this. Lead quality and lead flow matters. So what does that mean? So do everything in your power to find this. Now, in the final expense world, I'm convinced there are no magic final expense leads out there. People are people. You must get the clarity to get the sale. Now, there are bad final expense leads out there. And that's, deceptive leads where people don't know what they're calling about or filling out. And that's a consistent. I mean, if you have a lead source where consistently that happens, then that's no good. But assuming, they're general Facebook leads, consistent flow is tough to achieve. going through that here in the past couple weeks. So I think about myself, how many leads per day do you need? Well, I shoot for 30 leads a day, because if I have let's say a 20% contact rate, 6 contacted, and then a 6% overall out of 30, that would be 2 sales made per day. And then hopefully some more on some days, and then leads will pile up, or pipeline will pile up, and you'll get more than that. But that's why I shoot for 30 leads per day, and that's a good amount. If you're working less or more, you may adjust that. But in general, find that you always want more leads than you think you need. It's always going to be harder than you think it is. So give yourself the chance to close more with more opportunities. So lead quality and flow matters. We could go into that. It's a whole nother thing, but we got to move along here. Number 8, non-agent friendly carriers will cost you a lot of time and money. Non-agent friendly carriers, it will cost you time and it will cost you money. So therefore, what do? Work with carriers that respect and support agents. Here's a question I thought about. When you call a carrier, do you feel like they're on your side? Is there friction? Is it always pushback? Is it always, well, no, we can't do that because of this, or, well, it's always a reason why they can't do something. Rather, here's what we can do to help save this policy, or to help the customer, or change a bank account, or update a beneficiary. For most carriers, honestly, they're not agent friendly, and for most carriers, they're not customer friendly currently. The customer service experience is just not very good right now for most carriers. Long wait times, confusion. But think about it from your perspective. What are the carriers where when you interact with them, you feel good, you feel like, hey, they're helping me out, we're on the same team? There's very few. American Amicable is one of them. Positively, American Amicable is the best with their agent chat. You save so much time, and you save so many policies because you're able to just communicate efficiently, and they have processes that are, for the most part, very, very agent friendly. Does the carrier draft on time? Do they notify you when a payment is missed? Like, how is it we're in 2025 in the world of automations that carriers cannot send an email when a payment is missed? Do they answer the phone? I had a client call me yesterday. She's just, I think, Mobile, Alabama, and real chaotic life. And she said, I just spent 2 hours on the phone I'm trying to make a payment. Say 2 hours. They said they call me back. Nobody would call me back. And I lost your number. I got your number here. I'm glad I got you. And she went on to say, my family kept saying, now they said, Mom, are you sure you have legitimate insurance? Is this a scam? She's about to cancel her policy. And I mean, multiply that the number of times that must be happening per day. It's awful. So do they answer the phone? Do they respond to your emails? Do they process requests in a reasonable time frame? Do they make policy service requests pleasant, or is it a chore? You talk about call reluctance. Typically, you think about call reluctance in the sense of, I don't want to call my leads. I'm afraid of calling my leads. I don't have call reluctance calling leads. I have call reluctance calling carriers, which is sad. But I hate calling carriers. I'll do everything in the world to avoid it, because it's such a drain on time. So what carriers can you work with that are not going to waste your time and lose you money? I've been through, issues where drafts are messed up. I've lost, just thousands of dollars on bad drafting and whatnot. So you have one shot with most people. You have one shot. You cannot gamble it away on dysfunctional carriers. The exceptions, of course, are it's got to be a price buster. You got to get them the best rate. Otherwise, you're not going to get them. Or odd health conditions. They only fit with this carrier. Those are the exceptions. But in my mind, there are certain carriers where, so my wife will ask me, hey, so make any sales? I said, not really. Just a couple of junk sales. I call them junk sales because I know they're probably not going to last. If that client ever misses a payment, there is no way they're going to be able to contact them to to remake a payment, and the carrier's process requires to talk with them to do that. So I know I mean, I'd give it a 20% chance that that policy lasts, again, which is sad. So identify the areas of each carrier that will lose you business and put the extra manual work to monitor it. So if you choose, especially if it's a big policy or something, you just got to put in processes to monitor, even with the good carriers. Some of the manual changes you have to monitor. You put the request in, you better follow up and follow up and follow up until you know it's actually been done. Trust but verify. Because the carriers, I mean, if you know, you think insurance carriers should have rock solid systems. There should be very rare errors, but there are errors all the time. There are human beings on both sides of the equation. That's number 8. Number 9, simplicity wins. Simplicity wins. So therefore, simplify everything. You want to win at everything. Simplify everything. What do we mean? Simplicity wins. Simplify your presentation. Why? Because confused customers don't buy. Went into a couple weeks ago. My wife was out of town visiting some of her friends in Tennessee. So I had 3 of the 4 kids, young kids here, and I had the brilliant idea. I heard somewhere that you can the Apple Store will replace your iPhone battery for like $99. So I was going to upgrade to the new iPhone, but I wasn't too impressed with the new offering. So I thought, I like my 14 Pro. My health on the battery is 83%. I'd like that to be 100%. And hey, if I can do it for $99, that's worth it. It's a first world problem we got to solve here. So I make an appointment with the Genius Bar at the Apple Store, thinking, hey, this should be easy. Just walk in there, give them my phone. Should do it in a couple hours. I'll go pick it up, and we'll be fun, and then we'll be all set. So I'm sitting there. I knew it was not wise. I had 3 kids. I got 2 on my lap running around. The amount of self-control for these kids to not touch the phones and the computers, my goodness gracious. So I'm sitting there and all chaos is breaking out. Finally get the guy to come over, and I said, hey, I hear you can replace the battery. Can you replace it? Can you do it like this evening? So, well, he starts looking at his schedule and starts explaining on how the scheduling works. Well, usually it's a first in, first out process, but it'd probably be tomorrow morning. I'm like, okay, all right, just let me know. Can I change the battery? Can you do it? And then rather than just schedule it and tell me what my options are, he goes, well, it may not be a battery issue. We might need to do some diagnostic tests or test the system about this and this, and it may be, and I've got kids jumping around on my lap, and I don't know what he's saying. And I finally get so frustrated, I just said, you know what, forget it. And I just walk out, and I just have to go because I just couldn't take it anymore. I was ready to purchase, but I was confused and frustrated because he was confusing the sale. It was a lay down sale, and he had to complicate it. So I left. Similarly, in the final expense world, are you confusing your customers? Are you talking too much? Ask them, well, are you just trying to cover burial and funeral costs? Well, are you familiar with how these policies work? They're pretty simple. It's called whole life coverage. Covers you your whole life. It never expires. The price is locked in. Price never increases even as you get older. And then obviously the main purpose is when you pass away, the money gets paid out directly to your family. That's all they need. That's all they need. If they have further questions, they're going to ask further questions. Later on in the application process, you'll probably explain a little bit more, but that's all they need. Now they want to know, is it attainable for me? What's the price? Don't complicate it. Simplify your presentation. Simplify to issue life insurance. Simplify your presentation. Simplify your underwriting. Don't obsess over the minors. Could you spell that high blood pressure medication for me, ma'am? It doesn't matter. It's not going to affect the underwriting for a generic high blood pressure medication. What I generally do on my quick pre-screen, pretty much every sale is exactly the same. Hey, do you smoke or use any tobacco products? Any breathing disorders like asthma or COPD? In the past 3 years, have you had a heart attack, cancer, or stroke? And then any other heart issues, diabetes, or liver or kidney disease? Nope. Okay, sounds like you're in pretty good health overall. And then do you take any other prescription medications? And then any other condition, typically, not that I didn't ask about, will come out based on the prescription medication. And I'll say, just generally speaking, what are they for? Oh, high blood pressure, cholesterol, take something for pain. What's the pain medication? Oh, gabapentin. Okay, is that just for like back pain, or do you have like neuropathy? Oh, it's just for my back pain. Well, I got in a car accident. It's a nerve damage. Oh, okay. And you don't have diabetes, right? Right. See, so you make it conversational. You don't get stuck in the weeds, and you can pretty much get a quick, clear picture on what would be best for them. So and then you stick to agent-friendly carriers with reasonable underwriting, and then you're fine. So simplify your underwriting. Sometimes people you're frustrating your clients, or you're confusing things by asking too much up front anyway. So simplify your underwriting. Simplify your website. Now, most people are probably not going to go to your website, but if you're doing a lot of Facebook advertising, maybe they will, and you want them to if it's a good website. So clean, simple, user-friendly, mobile formatted to perfection. There's so many most websites out there are just they're not clear, and maybe I'm the only person that cares about this, but I just want keep it simple, format it cleanly. I used to use WordPress. I don't anymore because you really have to know your stuff pretty well to format it just the way you want it in WordPress. I switched over to Wix, which I used to never think would be a viable option, but they're terrific in terms of how you can customize exactly how you want your website to look like now. So I would use that. Simplify your numbers tracking. Focus on your key metrics. Back to Jeff's video last week: close rate, annual premium, placement rate, and leads taken. How are you recording that on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis? And then you can see the big picture year basis as the year progresses. But you gotta track it. And yes, there is manual tracking in this business. I mean, there's not a perfect system out there that just perfectly populates every stat, because there's like 3 different ways you can look at certain stats. So you got to kind of track it the way you want to. So simplify your numbers tracking, simplify your texting. People have, again, short attention spans, memory of a goldfish. Be concise, be quick while still trying to be warm and friendly in your communication. Clear, simple, timely questions. Quick reminders. So just as an example, if someone tells me, I have to think about it, or I've talked with someone, I'll call you back later today. I'll say, so when do you think you'd be calling back? Say, oh, well, I'll see my daughter tonight at 5 o'clock. So I'll send a text right after that, but then I'll also schedule a simple reminder text that says, reminder, call Benjamin at this number right now when you're with your daughter. So I don't have to think about it again, but they're going to get that text, and if they really want it, maybe that little reminder will help them actually call. So you just increase your probability of making contact. Practical stuff: simplify your workspace. A clear desk equals a clear mind in my mind. If I have stuff sitting on my desk, I've got to clean it. I have dust on my desk, I got to clean it. You simplify, you clear out all the distractions so you can focus on the phone, on the person you're talking to. Distraction free. That means different things for different people, but simplify your workspace. Simplify your technology. Don't settle for outdated technology, because it'll come back to bite you at some point. For me, brand new Mac Minis, those things are incredible. Just I have 24 gigs of RAM. I mean, it's crazy thinking back to what RAM used to be. Simple wired headset. And where now, don't chase all the fancy Bluetooth stuff. It'll fail you at some point. Stay wired. Dual monitors, you got to be able to see things. Lower the stress when you're trying to reference toolkits and the application, etc. Minimal open tabs. I don't care what you say. You cannot be thinking clearly and process efficiently if you've got 200 tabs open on Chrome. It's going to bog down your computer, and it's going to bog down your mind. So I know the many tab people will fight me on that, but organize bookmarks. Where do you have to go for applications, and where do you get to quickly? It's one less thing to think about. Organize your bookmarks for all your start application, that links directly to the application as best as possible. Have your passwords saved on there so you don't have to double check, and you can access things quickly. So simplify everything. And coming in here at number 10, it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. That's true in any relationship, including the relationship that you have with your clients. My wife reminded me of this last night. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And I am not naturally good at tonality. I am objective. I am to the point. I am not emotional naturally. But you got to be purposeful on your tonality with final expense clients, as we all know, because they're not looking at you, they're just hearing you. So, how are you talking to your clients? A couple things you can control. Your volume. Are you talking like this? Nice and quiet and calm. They may not be able to hear you. Are you talking fast? How are you doing today, Mr. Jones? Looks like the weather's nice in your area, whatever you're saying. I never say that stuff. But anyway, there's speed. How quickly are you talking? You know, the old advice is if you think you're talking too quickly, you definitely are. If you think you're talking at a proper pace, slow down even more. And when you think you've found the right pace, it's probably good to slow down even more. Because to us, we know what we're talking about. We know what's coming next. To them, they've never heard it. So you've got to slow down. You got to be willing to be repetitive and slow. Pauses. Sales are made in the pauses. It's not so much when you talk, it's when you pause at the right time. Tone. Are you aggressive and salesy? Are you relaxed and consultative? Are you friendly? You know, that tone changes from person to person. You got to kind of mirror and match the tone. So that, but you never want to be hyper excited, hyper salesy, because it's, people don't want to be sold to anymore. Sales are made by asking good questions, pausing, and listening. They must convince themselves they need it. You cannot make a decision for the person. You can help them think through it, but at the end of the day, they have to convince themselves they need it. Most people don't want it. The people that do want it still need convincing, or they need you to help them or get them to articulate and confirm to themselves that, yes, I do need this, and I do want this, and I do trust you. Let's do it today. So tonality. Adjust how you sell to match how they buy. Okay. So that's, again, it's just conversation. No conversation is exactly the same. It's tough when you're dealing with, back to number 3 or whatever it was, tough when you're dealing with crazy people. Because if they buy things in a crazy manner, how do you sell in a crazy manner? It may not work. But as best as possible, you have to adjust how you sell to match how they buy. A lot of different examples, situations. So 12:44 p.m. Central Time. That is 10 realities that change the way how I sell life insurance. There's the summary of them again. Again, most people don't truly want life insurance. Clarity is the goal, not sales. People are crazy. Nobody cares about you. It's all about timing. Numbers, not emotions, must guide your confidence and consistency. Lead quality and flow matters. Non-agent friendly carriers will cost you a lot of time and money. Simplicity wins, and it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So those are 10. We could probably do another 10 some other point, but those are very consistent things that I think about and come up